Good morning, Mr. Sykes. Good to see you. I'm your cardiac consultant, come surgeon, as it were. Other, are they any good, like? Any good? Are they any good at the job, that is? Well, I would hope so. Seemingly they do hold me in high regard here. Let's hope so. Yes, Mr. Sykes. Then as I expected somebody white, or not? Well, sorry to disappoint you, but I'm of mixed race, so I have a little black and a little white inside, but shouldn't let that bother you too much. I mean, the scalpel doesn't distinguish or discriminate between colours. I can assure you it cuts black skin similar to how it cuts white. So I called the Dr. Mohammed or Mo or something. What does I want to be called? Well, Dr. Mohammed will be fine. However, when we're going to do the job, like? When am I going to do the job? There's a lot of pre-examination to do yet before before we start that. So we've got to go through the minutiae of things, find out just what ailments you may have had or not. And another question's been bugging me, like, how many's that snuffed out? I beg your pardon? How many has I lost? Patients? I see. How many's died underneath with thee? Well, how many's died? Just one. Unfortunately, I've lost one patient. Right. Only, I suppose I can do the job if I've not snuffed out too many, like. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sykes. Who are you thinking that may do the job if I obviously didn't live up to your expectations? Who was going to step in, do you think? Seeing as I'm the only qualified heart surgeon here at the moment. No, I suppose I'll have to do the job, but if there's nobody else, like, I suppose I'll have to get on with it. So, I mean, it's all right now. I found out there's not many deed on their watch, so I suppose I'll have to get on with it if that only one that's here, like. Oh, well, thank you very much. That's pleasing. Thank you. Is there anything else, Mr. Sykes, before we, continue with the consultancy at all? Well, no, I suppose not. It says here down in your file here that you were born in India, and you left just under the age of 5. This is I don't know, somewhere near thee, like, obviously. Well, I'm Egyptian in actual fact. Yeah, 2 different continents, but I was sprugged up in what's now Pakistan, and I was right shit all that. Well, I'm sure it has its good parts and bad parts, as every country does. So, nothing much else? Were you part of the Raj out there, the British Raj, or anything? No, I just guarded them during, when I went back, then I left, just as I says, under age of 5, but after I got finished getting my ballocks blown off during, fighting for king and cunt, could we try and keep the language, shall we say, less blue on the ward, if you don't mind? Anyway, I tried, what would I say? What were you saying? Oh, I don't know. It's 96, I don't know what I'm saying. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So, I suppose that one that's working on carvery, like, are they? I beg your pardon? Who's splitting ribs and what have you, and pulling mate out? Who's doing the operation? I'm doing the operation, but we don't know whether yet we are going to, cut through the sternum bone, open the ribs, and stop or start the heart, arrest the heart to do this. Stop-start job. That makes it sound like a car, then. Yes, we don't know if we're going to do that. So that's not going to be sort of ripping and cutting and carving like? No, I think looking at this, it might be better if we go another way round. And apart from that, there's not just me, don't forget. It's not me just working on the carvery, as you put it. There's a shooting 6 team. Obviously the anaesthetist and various other people that are going to be assisting me. Gasman, not... anyway, yes. Anyway, there's a shooting 6 that's going to assist, but hopefully we're not going to have to do too much of that, hopefully, because we're looking at something else. What? Let's get back to what I was asking you. It's put me right off the train of thought here. Oh, yes. So you came out of India. The reason I'm asking you this is because your heart... It does have a very, very irregular rhythm, and it shows down here in your notes. I don't know why nobody's brought it up earlier, but just before the age of 5, coming from India, you arrived in Liverpool with scarlet fever, and this is why you do have this irregular rhythm to your heart. Very irregular rhythm. It's surprising that they didn't notice this in the army. Well, I went through medical. They had me down as tip-top fit. Probably at that time they couldn't have cared less. So you went through the army, yes. And what I'm trying to get at is, I went through Nazi Germany, like, and they dropped us in Arnhem there. Went in with 10,000, came back with less than 2. Then us. Yes, it does sound as though it was a little bit of a bloodbath, and then and then after we finished there, they dropped us in, after we finished with war in Europe, like, they dropped us into India, fighting Nips, Japs, the Japanese, fighting Japs. Then I was, anyway, went in there in Burma, like, and I come out of there with malaria and a monkey, like, when I came out of there. That's what I'm trying to get at. How many sort of diseases, viruses and things, roughly can you put your finger on how many you've had in your life? It seems that every time you've been to India, you seem to be coming back with quite a few ailments, as you were. Well, I had a lot there then. I was everything, scabies, well, that's not but every known thing, dengue fever, malaria, all lot. I got all lot, went through all full lot. My ass was like a pincushion by the time as they finished with then I was with beriberi, dengue fever and all that, and yellow fever, and I had all that. Yes, this is what I'm getting at. Any of these that any of them ever do you have a recurrence? Have you ever had a recurrence of any of the jungle fevers that you contracted at all? Nout. Now, I've been fighting fit all my life. You've been fighting fit all your life, I see. Well, that's not quite true, because you've got this this heart problem, obviously, and you've had it since the age of 5. Aye. Yes. So, what? I keep getting distracted. What I was saying here. So, Mr. Stikes, yes. Not only at the age of 5 did you have this little stowaway aboard your vessel, this scarlet fever. During the Second World War, obviously, you also had all these different ailments, and none of them have recurred. That's fine. And the first one, obviously, you 91 years ago, and you brought the first one back, and then when you were 20, obviously, you brought some more back. The Liverpool records. I've read through everything, and you've never been back in here with any more ailments at all, and viruses, no. And you say that you've never noticed that you did have this very, shall we say, irregular beat to the heart, because it is exceptionally irregular. It's almost like a figure of 8, belfry bat, almost fluttering around in a bird's cage here in your rib cage. No. Felt as strong. It's not me that's got it. I haven't read records of our Memside Buzzer, because she's got something wrong with her heart, like. Not me. I haven't picked her records up, has her? No, I can actually differentiate between male and female, even though the genderization is getting seemingly closer and closer. Anyway, your wife doesn't have anything wrong with her heart, Mr. Sykes. There's nothing wrong with your wife. Well, she says so. As she may do. You'll usually find out that not to get involved in women's things. She's probably just got the vapours. She's got a heart that's as strong as a horse. There's nothing wrong with your wife. There must be. She's had it forever. She's had it for decades, man. She lays on the floor. She may lay on the floor and she may do anything. But she's been tested. She's been in here more times than... Oh, anyway, the hypochondriac. So you say... Oh, good, everything's okay. I'm surprised the army didn't pick this up. They only had me down A1, fit as a flea. Well, hardly. But anyway, during the war, obviously, they weren't even bothered about checking anyone properly on a one-way ticket, a rubber stamp, a visa to hell. So they were not particularly bothered about what they were doing. Life expectancy was weeks. Obviously, didn't bother on reporting it. But they're very fortunate that you came to this hospital, in actual fact. Why is that? Well... We're the ones that we have a very special type of machine, cardiac machine, and we can actually do this operation without, as you say, putting you out onto the carvery. And we can do it. We can drain the infection from your pericardial sac. Pericardial sac? What on about? Well, your heart's a bit like a ball bearing. It's in a sack of lubricant as it beats. Obviously, you can't just have it beating against bone or something. It's to wear through, so it's actually like a ball bearing. It's in a liquid. So they're going to get on with it then, now what? Yes, we're going to get on with it as soon as we've gone through the minutiae of details and checked you out further. Well, when, like? Well, there's no real rush at the moment because we've got to do the tour. There may not be a rush for thee, like. For thee, but I'm in a rush because I'm one that's near to dying, like. And I can barely draw my bleeding breath. Here. Especially in this hospital, it's like a greenhouse in here. I mean, I'm hot as a glass blows house here. I can't sleep at night or out. We can't get any windows up. It's a wonder we're not all dead. It's hot as a kiln in here. Yeah, so they keep it at a temperature just above body temperature. Oh, it's too hot for me here, then. Well, possibly so, but we, it's... Anyway, it says here you recently went on a cruise to the Maldives and round India and everything. Aye, this is probably where you picked this up. No one's mentioned this. So, you've been back to India, Maldives and da-de-da, and when did this... It jumped on my chest. It were on, obviously, that's another thing. They've got air con so hot in them, they can't breathe on ship. And it's jumped, it started on my lungs and then went to my heart. Right. I mean, last time I were on one of these big, with a 10,000 troop carrier from Liverpool to Bombay. They nearly went down in biscuit on us. Indeed. I'm just wondering if you've picked this up. Here, another thing. Yes, Mr. Sykes. This death business, this protocol, there seems to have a protocol where they moves all badges to out's door. To out's door if they're checking out, like. Those last gaspers got death rattle rasp. They get some closer to the door, is that right? Well, not quite, but if we obviously know that cessation death is coming upon someone, then we do try to move them, as it were, to an exit point, so that they don't have to drag them full length wide with the feet, like in a body bag. Well, we wouldn't do that anyway, Mr. Sykes. I mean, it's not as though we're in the habit of dragging body bags down the ward with people, or dragging people by their feet screaming. It's not the Black Death. We don't just load them onto carts and then ring a plague bell, pushing them through the ward. We do have a little bit of discretion and subtlety. Happen, but then us, so they get some near the door, like. Yes. Yes, it does happen that way. Yeah. So, because I know, apart from young uns jumping up and down with glee like and clapping their hands on, because grandfather's on the way, they're waiting to go to Disneyland with money like. I mean, there's one of them little bloodthirsty thing there that's been jumping up and down, doing a visual at the bedside there. They've been doing a visual at the grandfather's, but she's wanting to marry Mickey Mouse. She's jumping up and down up in the D's as soon as possible when they croak like. Yes, I can see that this is going to be a little bit difficult. What? It is difficult, I'm telling you. I'm tired of shite since I've been in here. I can barely draw my bleeding breath. I'm as hot as a glass blower's ass, and I'm as tight as I'm bottled up. What? Oh, yes. Oh, no. I'll get a nurse to see what they can do. And also, Mr. Sykes, if you could, address the nurses as nurses and not use this, shall we say, pigeon Hindu that you seem to be coming out with. And, remember, Britannia ruled the waves a long time ago, and also this crushing imperialism that you're still in your cranium of Britain owning a third of the land surface of the world has long since gone. Can you quit with the, shall we say, the empire argo? Eh? You're speaking to half the nurses in some sort of, I don't know, something you picked up way back when? I did, well, I was there until I was 5. I was speaking, that's what I used to speak like. Right, can we just address them in English as norm? Well, they've only just come across most of them. They may have, but they also need to be addressed in English as nurses, obviously. God, I'm losing the train of thought again here. That's it. Oh, yeah, can you stop bellowing down the ward as well? And, you're sounding like you're back in the military again. Were you actually commissioned into the service as some sort of major? No. What were you? Private. Went in private, came out private. Even though I murdered about at least a couple hundred than those Nazis. And I saved the bacon of our major. Carried him nearly 3 miles on my back. I see. And they give him VC. Give me sweet FA like. Right. I murdered God knows how many crowds. And they end up giving him VC. Now that's why, don't I? Because I ended up headbutting RSM. He was trying to take my monkey off me at one. I ended up sticking nut on him. Oh, yeah. Well, that would possibly do it, yeah. So, Mr. Sykes, the procedure, we're going to do this as quick as we can. We'll actually drain it. What we're going to do is fire it straight under your ribs here and drain the pericardial sac of this infection that you have. And fortunately, we do have a machine to do that. So, also the other thing, can you stop making fun of other patients? What's that mean? Well, by all accounts, the person in your next bedfellow to you, he thinks he's going to be dreaming of Women's Hour or something when we tune in his pacemaker. You've told him when you had yours tuned in that the only thing you could hear when you were dreaming was Radio 4. Can you stop with the comedy, please? Oh, I suppose so. Do you come from a large family? We had to have a bit of a thick skin on the back, like. Well, I had to, didn't I? I mean, come on, we got one car here at bottom of the yard, and can you imagine 10 of us using a plop drop first thing, eh? No, I can't, but anyway, if you could. So, how did you get to acquire such wealth, as it were, dare I ask? Well, I started then. I started at age 12. Then I was. It were a toss up whether I went down pit or whether I were doing steel like. Anyway, they sent me down steel East End of Sheffield like. And anyway, I'm mucking out all beasts, shite horses, elephants, elephants. Oh, they used out to get their hands on. They even used giraffes and camels at one stage. All trucks and whatever you were up front during it war. And my first job was mucking out elephants and stuff. I tell you what, that took some doing. Shifting, talk about shift some shite. Oh, possibly. Yes, Mr. Sykes. Aye. And anyway, everything was out at front. Diesel trucks, all want men. And I were down to East End at 12 years of age, like. And I wants to try that. I tell you what, I wants to try. I wants to try leading elephants out onto ice and snow. That's when it gets frisky. Anyway, when bombs were dropping in Blitz, they dropped one straight on these elephants and in arches there, in viaduct, they're not arches at train like. Really? It sounds, oof, right mess. When I got there that morning, the two of them, anyway, I got job at having to cut them all up, like, with a ripsaw, big ripsaw. Out. We used all sorts to cut them up, me. Just you. Well, mainly me, yeah. And anyway, I had a little deal with a nearby butchers down Wicker. No, it's not Wicker there. They were all butchers down there. Slaughterhouse were nearby. And I can imagine how big elephants were, and bones and God knows what. Anyway, I cut them up and, there was so much meat. Mate. Ah, meat. Meat, you mean? Mate. Ah. Anyway, I ended up cutting them up and turned them all into a fair whack of coin, like. I can imagine. And it turned out, I mean, it wore off his closed their eyes to anything that were going on. And I started doing it on a bit bigger scale and then a bit bigger scale. And before I knew what were going on, I got all archers full of meat, selling it. Right mess. Then I was down on Wicker Arches. There's about 20 arches. I got them full. And it sounds very brutal. Oh, it were... anyway, that's how I started. And I tell you what, I didn't have to turn some coin there. And they were shipping them in from all over. And I were breaking them up non-stop. I see. Sounds pretty ghastly. I wish I'd not asked. Yeah, it were. It's not for faint-hearted, like. So, and then... Well, then those buses and trucks and every unbelievable wild effort, like. I got involved in that and all. I were ripping buses and trucks and troop carriers, all that. I were ripping all them. I was sending engines abroad, and that's where all money started flooding in. So basically, you were a slaughterman, really, of every sort, even steel or, for God forbid, beasts. Live beasts. That was it, and that's how I made my money. So that's how you became a sort of a ragman Rockefeller. That's right. So anyway, Mr. Sykes, get back on track. We'll get this done tomorrow and see if we can get you up back on your feet, because it's not as serious as we thought at first, and we'll get you back on your feet as soon as your pericardial sac has been drained of this infection. I don't know where you've picked it up. We just hope to God. Anyway, we'll get it done, and hopefully we'll get it done this afternoon, and hopefully you will have you back on your feet in a few days and ship shape, Bristol fashion. Good. So, Mr. Sykes, all's gone according to plan, absolutely brilliantly. And you must have unbelievable blood, because you've healed tremendously. Well, it's probably all mate have been eating, and it says it's all about diet, isn't it, Doctor? Well, not quite, but anyway, we can't do anything about the irregular heartbeat. You've still got a little bat fluttering about in your bird cage, as it were, but you certainly have pulled round. The only unfortunate thing, what they're saying, well, not for you, but for us, that it's turned out, obviously, that this problem you've brought back yet again from India. You're going to have to stop going there, hopefully. Please stop going there. This, whatever it was, that's now been, shall we say, loosed into Sheffield Hospital, has spread like a raging pandemic through all the wards, and well, it looks like we've got one or two persons that have died from it. In fact, it's spreading at such an alarming rate that I dread to think what the body count is today. The nurse is coming here with So, nurse, well, how many? 10. Oh my God. So, Mr. Sykes, it looks as though we've cured you, but created rather a monstrous problem for ourselves, because what you have brought is highly infectious, and the body count, as you just heard, is up to 10. Oh, Jesus Christ, that joking. No, I'm not joking. Oh, God, let me get out of here. Last thing I need is that back. No, it won't come back to you. You're now immune. It's all, as you say, the old badgers that are moving towards the door that's the problem. If we're not careful, we will actually be putting them onto a plague cart and ringing a bell. The amount that are now dying, seeing as you've... Anyway, it's not your fault. I'm not getting at you, Mr. Sykes. But whatever it is that's jumped, that we've now released into the... Well, it serves you right for having the place so sealed up. I've told him before, there needs some fresh air through here. Yes, possibly so, but... Anyway, thank you, Mr. Sykes, and you're free to go. Obviously, you've been discharged, and hopefully you'll not need to see us again. Well, Mojo, Dr. Mohammed, thanks over again for all that's done, and good luck with what you've left. Yes, thank you, Mr. Sykes, and cheery nurse. Thank you, Mr. Sykes. Goodbye. I tell you what, nurse, I don't know whether that man, Ragman Rockefeller, he really has the heart of a raven, the soul of a jackal, and the kind conscience of a common crow, really. I don't disagree, Doctor. I mean, I asked him just as a joke if he did die, what he would be, what he'd like to be reincarnated as, and he said either Judas or reincarnated as Rasputin. Yes, I can well imagine. Anything that holds the money bag, eh? 30 pieces of silver. Got to see the back of him. I don't know whether he's a Sheffield Shithawk or the angel of death, but thank God we see the back of him.